Hi, everybody. Welcome back to my LinkedIn Lives. I'm Jasmine Navarro, certified wellbeing expert, working with educational institutions and companies, helping them support their family wellbeing challenges. As you know, every week I interview different experts who make a difference. Today, I'm super excited, finally, after planning it such a long time ago, interviewing Rushabh.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Rushabh? Thank you for joining.
Hi, Jasmine. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm doing well. Hope everyone on the call is doing well and you are doing well as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah. So I'm based in India. I'm an HR fanatic. Spent a decade in corporate industry, worked in multiple industries. Decided my calling is more in line with working with multiple companies, producing, helping them with unique solutions and customizing it for them.
Okay.
That's where I pivoted into fractional model.
Wow.
What I currently do is I specialize in three areas. One is organization effectiveness. Second is HR technology advisory, and
Okay.
third is on manager capability. And
Right.
all of these have been pivotal moments for me in my career, and that's where maybe they have stuck around with me. And
Yep.
that's what I feel are also primary blockers many times for organizations to scale up. So that's what
Amazing.
I do with companies. And
Okay.
I work and I'm at industry agnostic, and that's something that I really enjoy. I look at the industry, try to understand its model of operations, and then customize solutions accordingly. So that's what I do. And additionally, I specifically work with managers. I am a PCC coach. I coach managers,
Right.
specifically who are the first and second
Okay.
time managers, to
Yep.
become better at what they are doing.
Amazing. All right. It sounds so interesting. It sounds like you've got lots of experience, lots of qualifications in this area. So really excited to get to dive straight in. So you chose this topic, HR careers redefined, embracing the portfolio lifestyle. Can you tell us what that means and why you chose it for today?
Yeah. I feel now the role of HR is increasingly becoming important. What I have seen in my from the start of my career to now, initially it was all about an enabling, supporting function who works in the back end. Now with the pace at which things are changing, the pace at which people need upskilling, the pace at which things are moving in general in organizations, HR is truly becoming a business partner. And this is where I feel it's a perfect opportunity to partner with so many companies to solve so many people related problems. And that's where the pivot from one organization, one role, lifelong, to multiple organizations, multiple profiles, multiple roles, all at the same time. And being able to add value to multiple organizations at one point of time. So that's where the pivot I did that pivot about a year and a half back.
Yeah.
And that's where I also see people moving to, and I advise people who are actually interested in doing some meaningful work to pivot into this model. And that's why I
Okay.
chose this topic today.
Amazing. Amazing. No, thank you so much. Right. So, where do we start then? What would you like to start? What would you say would be the most important thing to start with today?
Right. I just wanted to start with a caution, because the pivot is fancy on the outside. When you
Yeah.
pivot from a stable job, there wherein you are certain of a monthly paycheck, from there to moving into a setup where things are absolutely uncertain. So it's that it sounds very fancy, but it's actually very, very exhausting.
Oh,
So the most critical part before you want to go to, you want to pivot or you want to move into this model, is to know your why. Why do you want to move out of what you're doing to a model like this? Until and unless you know your why, please, please, please do not take that plunge, because it's scary. The
you were,
reason,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. But I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. But what if the why is just I'm not happy with what I'm doing, so I need to change?
Yeah. So then you need to figure out, is it the organization, is it the manager, is it the role? What about
Right.
you? What about not being happy equals to, right? If at the end of the day you feel that, staying in the one role, and you've experienced in multiple organizations, if you're not feeling okay and you feel you can do much more, then maybe understand what are your strengths, what is it that you want to do. So there is this whole journey that a person has to go through. It's a journey of introspection that, yeah, you need to go through
Yeah.
before you figure out what is your why.
Okay. We've got a question here from Susanna on Instagram. Hi, Susanna. How are you doing? She says, what does a portfolio career mean to you personally? And why is it becoming so relevant in HR right now?
Sure. What it means to me personally, Susanna, is the opportunity to make an impact to multiple organizations, solve multiple problems in a way that, there is benefit to people in the organization and eventually the business or the organization. So that's something that's very close to me. One of my biggest skill is, or one of my biggest strength is, my ability to learn quickly and my willingness to add impact to anything that I take up. So that's where it's important to me. Second thing is, I can choose which one do I want to continue with, which one do I think is a mismatch, and I can, amicably part ways, right? So that's the second benefit. And third is,
Yeah.
of course, the flexibility. You get time. You are your own master. You choose, you decide how many clients do you want to pick up, how many assignments do you want to pick up. You know your own bandwidth. You work in that specific bandwidth, and then you decide how much you want to take up and how much you want to let go. So that's been an advantage. The reason why it's picking up is increasingly, and I that's where the caveat, that's why I gave that caveat in the start. Increasingly, people are lured into this without really doing a proper analysis and
Mm.
introspection of why do they need to go into it,
So, what do
right?
they need to do in simple steps then? Really simple, basic steps. What do they need to
Yeah.
do?
Um, if everyone knows about this concept called ikigai, you need to first know what your strengths are. You need to, second thing, be financially secure for at least 18 months.
But
When you,
that can be quite hard for some people.
exactly. But then people assume that maybe if they have certain credentials, maybe the way they have worked in a particular setup, it will be easier for them to transition. It's actually not. That's where there are times when you may try and try and try and you may not get a client. There are moments that you may try and you eventually get a client, but that's something which is out of your control. So that's where, to be on a safer side, at least have 12 months, but I recommend at least 18 months of financial stability in terms of, month on month expenses are taken care of. um, Third, talk to people. Talk to people who are in this path, who have gone into this path. Understand their journeys, understand their challenges. Try and visualize, if how will you be able to position yourself in those challenges, and then again go back to your why do you want to go about it. So asking the most basic questions is very critical before you take this step.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. We've got another question here from Susanna again. What myths do you think still exist about portfolio careers, especially in HR? And how can we
Okay.
debunk them?
Yeah, the myths are, and I'll talk about me, and then in general, my number one myth was that it's going to be relatively easier because of my
Um,
pedigree, right? Second is, if I am, absolutely active on social media, and if I'm constantly targeting my audience, my turnaround time should be relatively lesser. By turnaround time, I mean from lead to making a client should be relatively lesser. Um, the reality is that no matter how much you push, how much you are putting out content, everything, whatever you're doing on social media, it does not imply that you're going to get clients. Second
yeah,
thing,
that's true.
usual lead around time, if you're starting on your own, like, and if you're not leveraging your network, it takes anywhere between 75 to maybe 120 days, which is 2.5 to 4 months. And third, I used to think that the anxiety that you go through, especially when you are, pitching to a client, and the client says, oh, you know what, okay, let's explore this, let's explore, there is a conversation and it moves forward, and in the end they say, you know what, it's not happening, but in your head you already thought that it's okay, it's happened.
Yeah,
So the
that's
conversation
true.
has gone so forward. So yeah, these are the myths. I mean, how do you manage those periods of uncertainty is very unique to every individual. So you need to figure out that for yourself. So I mean, yeah, these are the three big myths that I have witnessed. And the fourth one is, I used to think that it's going to be even more difficult than I had anticipated. But the reality is now, because organizations are moving forward, all you need to do is put it in the right way to the client, right?
Tell
If
us
you
more about
spoke,
that.
yeah, sorry, you're saying something,
Yeah.
Jasmine.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about that? What you just
Yeah,
said.
absolutely. So, conceptually, fractional or portfolio, there is this overlapping understanding with different people, right? People at times confuse a fractional and then portfolio expert as a contractor workforce,
Mm,
right? So it's very important to set that context, that you know what, you are here to do. Let's say, like for me, I am an HR tech advisor. So what I do is I recommend technology solutions to company. I don't implement it for them, right?
right.
So I have to clearly explain it to them when I'm pitching, that I'm an advisor. And then I talk about why do you need to listen to me, because I have worked with on the likes of all the major technology solutions in the world, and I know what works best, what doesn't work best. I pick up a POC with them, like a proof of concept. I ask them to tell me a problem statement, and I give them a solution right away with certain tools that I think are relevant depending on the solution, the problem statement. So pitching is very very important, right? And first pitch might not land well. You need to eventually let them also understand what you can do, and then give them a clear picture of what actually you're capable of as a
Yeah.
portfolio expert. You're not a
Mm,
how are you different from a contractor workforce? So there is still an awareness gap in the whole portfolio careers, that people are still not able to differentiate clearly.
mm. Can you tell us? No, that makes sense. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey with this? I know you mentioned a little bit at the beginning, but like what obstacles you came across and what helped you. And
Yeah. So Feb 2024 is when I quit my, last role.
oh, okay.
I was out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a year and a half now. I quit, and for the first 3 months, to be very honest, I got nothing, because I was still figuring out. I was trying to understand what's happening, and in that space of anxiety, I decided to give up and look for full time opportunities. But what happened is, that I had cracked two full-time opportunities, but somewhere down the line, they didn't materialize for various reasons. And that was like my gut telling me that, what, continue on the path that you have started. I think there is something for you. And that's when I cracked my first client via LinkedIn. It was an HR technology platform who wanted me to help them revamp their analytics module. So they have their analytics module. They wanted me to help them revamp it entirely, right from a user perspective, right from the moment they land on the module till the entire workflow of report generation and etc. The entire workflow. So I did that. uh, then by a word of mouth, I got my second client, which was specifically in line with building a career path framework for an education startup in Bangalore. That happened, and these were two small projects, but I was so happy to do them because there was some value add in this. And
Yeah.
then the third project happened, which was a longer one, wherein the expectation was to um, work with managers, do and like set up an assessment center, do a skill gap analysis, implement an LMS, the learning management platform, and integrate that whole module together. Now, when I was doing that, I got another project within the same organization because there was certain M&A, merger and acquisition, that the organization was going through. So during that phase, I was asked to do a productivity exercise for them, and I was able to save some, $1 million for them, but just by doing that activity. And
Wow.
that project was like, it was went on for about 7 to 8 months. And then I got more confidence and I
Mm,
started pitching more aggressively. And right now I'm working with three clients. One is in an FMCG, one is in logistics, and one is in steel manufacturing. And all three projects are different. First
mm,
project is about upskilling the HR team on AI, as
yeah.
well as implementing AI based HR technology. And it's for the global team. And
Okay.
this is a Singapore based company. Now second project is complete process reengineering of one of the functions in HR.
Okay. What? Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Carry on.
No, that's it. I mean, the
Oh,
third
okay.
project is on an HR technology, so I
Okay.
just
Okay. So I wonder what would you say has been your biggest learning so far?
um my biggest learning is to be patient. This journey requires highest level of patience, because unlike a full-time job where there is a fixed routine,
Yeah.
here there are days where you will have longer hours, there will be days where you don't have any work. So irrespective of longer hours and shorter hours, how are you able to stay patient, and what kind of process or systems are you setting up for yourself? That's been my biggest learning.
Mm. Yeah. I guess that's for all entrepreneurs. Yeah. That would
Yeah,
be.
yeah, absolutely.
And I've got Susanna again. Thanks, Susanna, for your questions. She says, what advice would you give to someone in HR who's feeling really stuck, as I am, and not sure how to start diversifying their career path?
Okay. uh that's going to be a very long answer because it's
Yeah,
very individual,
sure.
specific. Yeah, it's very specific to you, because if I give you a very generic answer, Susanna, I don't know if you will be able to resonate. I would
No.
love to know a little bit more about you, maybe. Then I'll be able to
Mm,
customize it depending on your journey, to be able,
fair enough.
that way it will be a better outcome for you, Susanna.
Yeah, Suzanne, you could message Rishabh as well. But Rishabh, what about then? What would you say generally to people who are feeling stuck? Because I think that's quite a common feeling, isn't it? Where we keep going, we're stuck, we're doing the
Yeah,
same boring things, we're feeling the same boring way, and
yeah,
we don't know how to get out of this because there isn't time. We
yeah.
feel like there isn't time.
I think I'll tell you what I did, and I
Yeah.
usually suggest the same model, which is number one: identify your strengths. Without
Mm,
knowing your strengths, you may jump from one organization to another, or maybe
yeah.
one role to another, which may seem lucrative, and then again end up feeling stuck. Or possible that you may just thrive. That's a possibility. But the most important thing is knowing what you are good at, knowing what your strengths are, and that's where your ikigai concept comes into picture.
Do you want to?
So
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, so that's the number one thing. That's the most important thing to do.
Okay.
Second thing, invest time in harnessing your strength. For me, one of my strengths is HR tech, and that's where every week I am either evaluating a new tool, maybe one or two new
Are
tools,
you really?
yeah, or I am building agents, or I'm doing something or the other, because I know it's important for me to continue to upskill myself on this, right? So I mean, I've identified that it's my strength, and now I'm just doubling down my efforts on,
Mm,
becoming better and better at it.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, these are like my two immediate starter points that I would say
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
recommend people to do. Yeah.
And how much time do you spend on working on your strengths a week?
I spend maybe at least 10 to 12 hours every week.
Do you? That's a lot.
That's a lot, because I go into the depths of all the tools. I set up, I block time, I take a demo account, then I get into the specifics of it,
Wow.
and I'm then able to map it to what my client's situation could be in my head. So there is this
Yeah.
constant thing that's going on, and
Mm.
that there is this drive for me to get better at it. So
Yeah.
that makes me do it. But um in case, like, I have that flexibility at the moment, because I am in a space where I can afford to do it. But
Yes.
let's say if someone's doing a full-time job, I would suggest at least spend 5 hours every week. you know
Okay.
Maybe 1 hour post your working hours, or maybe, let's say, or depending on Friday 1 hour, Saturday 2 hours, Sunday 2 hours, whatever you're
Mm.
comfortable and whatever your
All
routine
right.
is. But at least 5 hours you spend, and that compounding effect helps you in getting better.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. But basically, doing something is about taking action, isn't it? It's not just
Yes.
about thinking about it, because we can get caught up in our thoughts. But no, super interesting. So, one more question about that though. What keeps you motivated in doing this 10 to 12 hours a week?
That's an interest, and that's honestly, I've been ruminating over this question. I
Have
honestly
you?
feel motivation is overrated. Um, yeah, I personally feel motivation as a concept is overrated, because then you are dependent on motivation to keep pushing you.
Oh
I
yeah,
prefer,
that's true.
yeah, yeah, I rather prefer to stay disciplined on this. And second thing is, one of my skills, or one of my strengths, is that I am extremely curious when it comes to tech.
Mhm.
So maybe that just pushes me, because if someone says about some tool, and if I don't know about it, then there is this inkling that how can I not know about it, and that pushes me. I think that's what drives
Yeah.
me.
And I
Yeah,
guess it sounds like you're really doing something you're passionate about.
that's true.
If you don't have the passion, then I think it could be nearly impossible to keep it up.
Yeah, again, the thing is, I still have my ups and downs,
Yeah.
despite
Okay.
enjoying this domain,
Yeah.
enjoying HR tech, enjoying
Yeah.
coaching, enjoying you know capability managers. There is this, I feel that there is so much of productivity loss in certain areas, and I know that there is scope for improvement. But then there are times where you've tried it all. There are things out of your control, and you just feel like, oh my god, just let it be. There's
Yeah. Yeah.
nothing's working. During those moments, honestly, I don't push myself too hard. Also, if I feel there is a sense of it, then I just give myself some space, because again, it's a fleeting
Yeah.
emotion. There are
Yes.
moments when you are heavily excited, and there are moments when you are heavily down. I
Yeah.
try to isolate myself from that emotion, and just observe it and stay with it, rather than reacting to it.
Brilliant. Oh, I love that. That's a real good coaching tool.
Yeah.
No, thank you, Rushabh. So, is there any? It's been really interesting talking to you. We're running out of time. Is there anything else you would like to mention that you feel is important that you haven't said yet
um
before we go?
I would say also, if you are deciding to pivot into a fractional or a portfolio career, please be mindful of how are you going to approach your clients.
Mm,
um, for me, LinkedIn has worked, but it might not work for others.
yeah.
So talk to multiple people, know what works for you, and then you start. I chose consciously to stay away from my network, because I wanted to build it from scratch. Um, if
Mm,
you want to leverage your network, go for it. By all means, go for it. But also remember, they come with a preconceived notion about you, which may or may not work in your
okay.
favor.
Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant.
That's
Thanks,
something that
Rushabh. Yeah. No, that's a really good point. No, thank you for sharing that. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining. If anybody has anything they want to ask about this topic, please message Rushabh directly. And
Yeah.
Rushabh, how can people contact you?
Yeah. So my LinkedIn name, you can just go by Rushabh Mota and you will be able to find me. That's one. Second is, I am unfortunately not on any other social media. So, guys, I'm sorry about that. That's what I've Jasmine as well. I'm not on Insta. I'm not on Facebook. It's a conscious call.
That's okay.
Um, yeah, and otherwise, I think the best model is for you to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I can give you my email ID. I can help you with my phone number, but right now, if I say, you may not be able to record it, so it's best you reach out to me on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation, and then I can share my other details as well.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Rushabh. It's been an absolute pleasure. Lovely to see you. And thank you, everybody else. And I will see everybody next week.
Thank you